Hello everybody, welcome to Crafty Soup. My name is Misty and today's episode is for the Counterfeit Kit group and their challenge number 1, which is to go diagonal with your design. Now that's easy for me, but if you have a hard time with that, why not start with a sheet of diagonal paper? And that watercolory paper there I actually created and have a video on that creation if you're interested. I will put links down below. So I'm going to use that to start my design, and I'm going to back it with a calmer sheet of paper so that this piece can really pop. And I'm using these birthday photos, so that background sheet of paper is a confetti print because it goes with the theme. And I'm going to go ahead and prep my photos by trimming them out, and then we're going to start building the design. So I'm going to try and figure out a logical flow to these photos story-wise and also direction-wise, because you'll notice that just one of those photos is a portrait print and the others are the landscape horizontal prints. So I found a flow that works, and I go ahead and trim my watercolor sheet down because while it is a 9x12 sheet, it's not perfectly 9x12. So I get it trimmed down to 12, and then I decide it really does need some contrasty pop to this. So I'm going to back each edge of this sheet with this very dark blue, navy blue piece, and you'll see in just a moment here how much that is going to create this big pop of dimension off of the page. And then because this is a watercolor sheet, I'm going to be sure to apply plenty of adhesive so that it will lay flat on my page. And I do kind of work in a diagonal direction as I adhere that down. Now it will pucker the underneath paper a bit as it is a stronger weight paper than the background, but I give it a little bit of a fold, and once it's in a sheet protector in an album, that'll help it flatten out even more. Now I thought I was going to use some washi tape to kind of adhere my photos down in kind of a fun corkboard style, but as I started building up my embellishment, that washi tape didn't work out, so that will pass off. But what I am going to do with my embellishment is color block it. And what that means is to take colors of embellishments and place them on top of the similar color of the background. So because this diagonal paper does have very distinct stripes of color, it'll be easy to match up my embellishments with those colors in the background. So as you can see, I'm just pulling out anything from my kit here that should work. And if you haven't seen my kit build yet, I will leave links to that as well, so you can see how I go about building kits each month for the Counterfeit Kit group. Now I move on to my title, and I decide that I want to put my title and my journaling spacing in place now before I start adding my color blocked embellishments. That way I don't run into problems with not having enough room for that stuff or ending up covering it up with these other elements. So I am going to build my title on this journaling card piece and use both a pre-made word die cut embellishment as well as my alphabet letters to build my title block. And I'm going to put that up in that space, and while that block isn't necessarily part of the diagonal flow, I'm okay with that because not everything has to be in that diagonal. I am going to pop it up with some scrap bits of foam that I have saved from other projects, and I just use liquid glue to make these work to pop up my project. And once I've got that in place, I do go ahead and adhere my photos down, and then I get my journaling block in place. And I am using a small amount of adhesive in case I need to change my mind and move things around here. But then it's just a matter of building up little clusters that make sense with each of these color blocked elements. So down there I'm working on a yellow flower and a yellow word tag that's going to work. I cut out that teal phrase from a bigger card with a circle punch. I am cutting apart flowers so that I can move them over to their appropriate colored areas and continue with that color blocking. Now, not every single tiny bit of your element needs to exactly match the color blocking. In fact, here is that cupcake print that I was trying to decide how I wanted to get it to fit. And I decided to color block it against the frosting with the pinks. And I definitely wanted it next to the title because it's about birthdays and the cupcake goes well with the birthday. So I made sure I had it over there next to that element. And this is a good way to use up some embellishments that you might not otherwise use, like that pink puffy bow. My kids aren't really pink puffy bow kind of people, but because of this color blocking element, it does work. And also with birthdays and presents, bows kind of make sense there. And then I move on to using up some of these rub-ons that I had in my kit. Now these rub-ons have been in my stash for quite a long time and they're pretty old. And I don't know what was the biggest factor in this, but because I'm working on a bumpy textured watercolor paper and these rub-ons are very old, I could not get them to stick. However, I did use my tweezers and very carefully use a fine tip glue bottle and added glue to the backs of these rub-ons and ended up getting them to work. And there you can see I start fussing with things and then decide that I'm going to have to add glue to these in order to get the long-term fix going on. And then once I got the color blocked bits down, I did go back and decide to add some gold in here. Since my cupcake had some gold in there, I wanted to make sure that element was balanced in other places. And I did go ahead and color block the gold against the yellow, and that worked well enough for me. And then once all of those bits are in place, I just go through and look for any small things that could help fill in any spaces or gaps that feel on the empty side. And it didn't take too much to finish this up, and adding in a couple of puffy dots, and then I'm going to call that one good. So have you ever done either embellishment color blocking, or do you struggle with diagonal layouts? Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. I will be back tomorrow with the final process video for this week, and then join me next week for 3 new videos. I'll see you next time.